Hi, Kat Chancellor with Stamp Art Connection. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. And this afternoon, I wanted to demonstrate a beautiful card that's featured in the new Stampin' Up! Catalog, Holiday Catalog, Creativity Delivered. This catalog features the Hearts Come Home bundle. It is a stamp set as well as a set of Thinlits. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this card right here that's featured in the catalog to show you just how easy it is to use this stamp set. So here's the stamp set, and as always, I always have my Thinlits put in here with my stamps. This is already taken out because this is the sentiment that we're going to use for the top of our card. It features some neat houses and some really nice sentiments, and there's some other projects that I'm going to that I have used these other stamps for. But what I want to do is show you these neat Thinlits. They're varying sizes. So you have these small houses, then you have a church, and then you have these larger houses. So if you were to stack them, which is what we're going to do for this card, you would start with the larger houses, then the church, and if you'll notice how nice that kind of lines up where the church steeple is just between those two houses, and then the larger houses in the foreground, kind of going from foreground to background. There's also a neat Thinlit in here that cuts these stars, and I use this to cut these stars here, which I have put on my card. So you will need these Thinlits for this project. It also comes with some extra tag topper and a little these houses that are kind of cute, and I can show you what they can be used for. And what's really nice is it has a Santa, so I can show you some other things that we can use those for. But right now, what I'd like you to do is to get started is you're going to need the Hearts Come Home stamp set and Thinlits, and I'm going to just lay these over here because our card features several layers. So you're going to need a big shot. You're going to need some gold foil sheet, some Whisper White, and the color I'm using here is Tranquil Tide, and some gold embossing powder. So here's my embossing sheet, or rather my gold foil. I'm going to pull out this sheet because what I want to show you is that when we cut out these little back pieces for our houses, that we want to use as much scrap foil sheets as we can, since they are rather small. It's tedious, but it can be done. So put those aside for now, because what we're going to do is I'm going to explain how we're going to cut our paper. So we're starting out with our basic cardstock 5.5 and 4 1/4. Next piece of Whisper White is going to fit directly over that, 5.5 by 4 1/4. The next piece is going to be 5.5 by 4 1/4. And then this is 5.5 by 2 3/4. And we're going to basically put, we're going to cut this piece with this. We're going to cut our steeple with that. And then our top piece is just basically going to be cut right there. And we want to make sure that we have enough room for our sentiment. So that is going to be the first thing that I'm going to do, is I'm going to stamp and emboss that, because I really need to make sure as I move these other pieces up and down that I have enough room. So now there's another thing I did here is I took a my scoreboard, and what I did is I'm going to just score right along the edge here, just to kind of make a just to make a very nice border, even though most of it is going to be covered by our houses. It just makes a really nice touch for the top, the Joy to the World. Okay, so I'm going to put this aside. Okay, so now we're going to take out our Big Shot, and here I have my layers. So top, bottom, middle, and that's perfect there. Okay. So I probably want to, I'm going to mark this right here. I'm going to cut that right there. And here's my middle piece. Now my middle piece is going to be just right because my bottom piece is meant to go right there. So the only piece that you really have to trim with the dimensions that I gave you would be the top piece. I don't know where that came from, but you'll notice how my bottom piece fits perfectly. Okay, so the top piece is the only piece that I'm going to trim. So I've marked that right there, so let me trim that. And you can move this up and down, because remember, we've cut this to the entire, see, this fits perfectly here. And then we're going to build on top of that comes this piece. And we want this to be right there, so it's right between our Joy to the World. And then this is the last piece that I just trimmed that we're going to slip right in here. Okay, so those are your 3 layers. Okay, so we're pretty much now take our gold, and I used a X-Acto pen, and all I did was I took each house and I just traced it with my X-Acto pen, my X-Acto, on a piece of gold paper. Okay, And what I did is then cut this out in that shape, and we're going to do this for every single one of these houses. That is the time-consuming part. So here it is, and it's going to go right there. It's going to go perfectly in the back of that house. So now I have to cut this for every one of these houses. Okay, so there you go. I've got every one of these has a gold piece that I've cut out to cover my buildings, and just push them up here. Okay, so now the trick is I'm going to take my my fine tip glue pen. I'm going to flip each one of these over and making sure that each one fits, because if you do need to trim it, it's not a big deal. Go ahead and trim it. So there may be some trimming, but each one should fit perfectly. And it does, pretty much. Might be a couple little pieces here and there. Okay, so we're just basically going to turn this over. And I'm going to take my fine tip glue pen and I'll move in so you can see what I'm going to be doing here. See, those are those pieces. Just, oops. Take my fine tip glue pen and I'm just going to add a dot . Not too big a dot, just enough. And I'm just going to let that kind of sit for a minute, just to kind of let the glue get a little tacky. All right, and then I have these lined up by the house, and I'm just going to go ahead and lay that over my house right there. Lay this one on top of this house. Lay this one on top of this house. Okay, we'll put that aside. Let's do our next one. Okay, so now I have my 3 pieces. So the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to put this piece on my card using Tombow. And I do want to get the back of my houses there. Where this thing came from, I got a piece of red that just wants to stick on my card. Okay, so I'm going to put this one here. Okay, that's my first layer. My second layer is going to go right there. And now I get my dimensionals. Now, what's nice is that I have two sizes of dimensionals, thanks to the mini glue dots. So I can use my minis right here up on the top of my church. I can use my minis on my tree right there, and then I can use my regulars bottom of my house. There we go. So there's that layer. Now our final layer. There you go. So there you have it. A beautiful layered card made with the Joy to the World stamp set, featuring these wonderful framelits that you can make these beautiful houses out of. So I hope you enjoyed the tutorial and that you will consider the Hearts Come Home stamp set and bundle, which is featured on, it's called the Hearts Come Home bundle, featured on page 39 for some really gorgeous cards. Please like this video and thank you very much for watching. Happy stamping.